So first, I'll call the meeting to order, understanding that the board members already notified us that she is en route. So as soon as traffic allows her, she will be here. Roll call.
No, Mrs. Horvath, forthcoming. Mr. Siebert,
Here.
Mrs. Bullock,
Here.
Mr. Wallace,
Here.
Mr. Whiting.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, next, I ask you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Or excuse me, I'm sorry, we're not used to the color guard. Color guard, post. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, appreciate that. They do an awesome job, so certainly appreciate it. Next, we have the Panther Character Awards. And each month, the Little Miami Board of Education takes time to celebrate the outstanding individuals who make our district such a special place. These students, staff, and community members exemplify leadership, character, and Panthers' pride in all that they do. Tonight, we're proud to recognize this month's honorees who truly show what it means to be a Panther. Mr. Siebert?
She has them right here for you. Yeah. Yes. Sorry.
We'd like to recognize two deserving students as this month's Panther Character Award winners. This month's Character Award is for trait and creativity, using your imagination to do something unique. We'd like to ask the following students to come up here and line up in front of the board, facing the audience. Tyler Watkins and Lori Lighthall. I'll read a brief quote about each of our students here. Tyler Watkins, we're proud to recognize Little Miami WCCC senior Tyler Watkins with the Panther Character Award for Creativity. As a member of the County Roots 4-H Club and the Camp Graham counselor, Tyler demonstrated exceptional and imagination and dedication at the fair this year, exhibiting true creativity, problem solving, and versatility. He successfully managed and showed market turkey, 2 market hogs, beef cow, and beef calf, earning multiple top 5 placing across both hog and beef competitions. Thank you. Lori Lighthall. Our next Panther Character Award for creativity goes to Lori Lighthall. In her first year of 4-H, Lori handled showing alpacas like a pro, working through her nerves with a smile to be a true role model. She placed in multiple alpaca events and received a grand champion and state fair trips for both photography and her inspiring project, Proud to Be Me. where she creatively shared her experience with a G-tube to teach others that being different is something to celebrate. Congratulations to our Panther Pride Award winners for showing incredible dedication and hard work and school spirit. Thank you.
Congratulations, guys.
Excellent job, congratulations. It's always neat seeing how Little Miami is represented in the community. Tonight, staying on that same theme, we have the Panther Pride Award. So we're also proud to celebrate 4 Little Miami 4-H students at this month's Panther Pride Award winners. I'd like to invite the following people up to the front when I call your name. Come on up. Reed Hulsman. All right, Reed, if you can stand right there and face the audience, I'll read a little bit about your accomplishments this summer. So, 6th grader Reed Hulsman dedicated work over the past 3 years with Market Chickens, paid off this summer with the first place finish in his class. Beyond his success in the ring, Reed shows true spirit by always demonstrating respect and stepping up to help his fellow 4-H members. Excellent job. Congratulations. Well, hang tight, Reed. All right, call the next one up here. We have Madeline Hulsman. Madeline's a freshman, is awarded the Panther Pride Award for setting big goals and taking on a horse project at the fair. She even joined a second club to sharpen her skills, and her incredible work ethic earned her senior reserve grand champion top run in, I'm going to mess, how do I pronounce that? Gymkhana. Gymkhana contesting. What is Gymkhana?
Like rodeo barrels.
Oh, wow. So she's like going barrel racing. That's pretty cool. That's outstanding. Wow. Okay. Next one is Charlie Couch. All right. All right. As a second-year Clover Bud, Little Miami primary second grader, Charlie Couch is still too young to show, but her enthusiasm was unmatched as she spent the week supporting and cheering on every single member of her 4-H group. Her energetic support made her a fantastic teammate all week long, providing that true Panther pride starts at any age. Outstanding. Congratulations. And then what we like to do is bring you back here, Charlie, when you're a senior, and you can tell us all about your barrel racing and your winning first prize in some of the chicken contest. Next, we have Nora Couch. Nora, in her second year showing, Nora is a 5th grader here. In her second year showing poultry at the Warren County Fair, Nora demonstrated grit and independence by handling her 30-pound turkey all on her own, taking home 5th in market turkeys, 2nd in turkey showmanship, and 5th in market chickens. She displayed her Panther pride through her hard work, determination, and hands-on dedication all fair week long. So congratulations, and 30-pound turkey, that's about as big as you. That's pretty amazing. All right, so if you give a hand for everybody.
Mr. Wallace, could you invite them all to the lobby for a photo? Yep, thank you. Yep.
So we'd like to congratulate our Panther Character and Pride Award winners. We would now like all our award winners to head to the lobby for pictures. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
not the case. Is this working? All right. We will. All right, so I'm going to read the board believes that it is the responsibility of the school system to ensure that each graduate is college and career ready. To these ends, an environment of high expectations and opportunity shall be created that fosters scholarship and citizenship and develops within each student the ability to become a productive and responsible.
I think it's the battery.
Batteries are dead.
Do you want this back? I can use this one. You can use this one.
Yeah, they're all
The batteries are out.
Test. All right, so the next item is to adopt the agenda. Do I have a, all right, do I have a second? I'll go ahead and second it. We gotta get, all right, so I have Diane made the motion, I second it. Discussion? Is yours not working either? All right, well, we're going to take a pause here to get these to work. All right. And then I guess for the home gamers in the Air Force at JRTC, this is why you do PCCs and PCIs before you start your mission. That's what I'm talking about, Rusty. Is that you? Is that your music? Oh, who's? I like it.
It's lively.
Yeah, yeah.
The clock.
Did somebody, it's
Yeah,
not.
I think that was an old battery.
It's showing juice.
Actually, it says full.
All right, everyone confirm that their mics are working? You're good? David, you good?
Yes.
All right?
Test. Yep.
I'm good.
All right, let's go ahead and start this now. We had the reading of the minutes, and we had a motion by Diane and a second.
Actually, we're on adopt the agenda.
We're on the agenda now.
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Okay, discussion? All right, roll call.
Mrs. Horvath,
Here.
Mr. Siebert,
Yes.
Mrs. Bullock,
Yes.
Mr. Wallace,
Yes.
Mr. Whiting.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, the next item, we have two, reading of the minutes. We have a motion to approve the minutes of the July 22nd regular board meeting and the August 5th special board meeting.
So moved.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Mr. Siebert? Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Mrs. Bullock,
Yes.
Mr. Wallace,
Yes.
Mr. Whiting,
Yes.
Mrs. Horvath.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have superintendent comments, but before we get to the superintendent comments, I think we just need some clarity as far as, and I know there's been some discussion, and I will say that, we're gonna just have some tough discussions today. I know feelings might get hurt from the audience. I'm gonna ask that you have some thick skin. If you do feel like you need to have your Spartacus moment, I wanna ask you to do that quietly and leave. We don't need to keep having interruptions every single month as someone races out of here. So if you have to leave early, I just ask that you quietly get up and leave. That being said, I wanna go over just some confusion that I've had with many community members, and I wanted to talk about, I guess we will say, duties and responsibilities or jobs. So, the job of the superintendent handles day-to-day activities. The job of the school board is to set the policies. Now, based on those policies, the superintendent then enacts procedures that kind of nest with the policies to carry out the duties. Did I miss anything, Mrs. Morgan? That's pretty much just in simple terms? What we do, okay, excellent. So that being said, Mrs. Morgan, superintendent comments.
Thank you. Yes, I want to give a brief attendance update. We ended the 25-26 school year with 5,921 students, and we started the 26-27 school year with 5,974 students. So we have a good chance of breaking 6,000 students this year. In the last 8 school years, we've gained over 1,000 students in our district. So that just kind of gives you an idea. This year, our growth is down just a little bit, but in general, we gain anywhere between 50 and 300 students a year. So that is certainly a feat for a school district to take on that many new students a year.
All right, thank you, thank you.
The next thing that I have is I invite Sierra Worsham to the lectern. Sierra's going to give us a transportation update today. Yeah, here you go, Travis.
This one? Here.
And Sierra, how long have you been in this new position? It's been baptism by fire here.
Has.
We had 2 months now.
So 2 months, so I want everyone to understand that she inherited this situation, but I know her and her team are working very diligent to right the ship here, so.
Thank you for that. Good evening, everybody. So one thing I want to acknowledge is that from the beginning, transportation has had its challenges. Some that I was aware of what's going to take place and some that I did not. And I know the impact that it was going to have on the families, on the drivers, on the district, on the staff. I don't want anyone to think that I'm ignoring their concerns. We are taking those concerns seriously, and it is my duty and my job to make sure we correct it as fast as we can. Unfortunately, it's just not as fast as I want because there's not enough time in a day. We are currently at 67 routes. We have 4 out of those 67 that are special needs routes, and we operate 5 vans. We are currently continuing to do interviews. I probably have about 4 to 5 a week, which right now we do have 3 in training. The recruiting team continues with their recruiting efforts. We probably need to revamp some things and probably go outside of where we're at right now in Little Miami is what I'm thinking. But there has been a great deal of word of mouth from the drivers who are also getting those teams in. I have seen a great come together and everyone trying to put in their efforts along with Ms. Morgan and Dr. Showers who has stepped in and came over, board members as well riding those routes to see what we do every day. Thank you so much for that. I think that was appreciated by us in transportation. We did have a great success at the ice cream social, which we had an open house. I'm hoping that we do that again next year because I think that was a lot of community effort. So you can get to know your bus drivers and things like that. That was great put together by not just me, but the drivers. Including the cardboard regatta, that was great. It was nice to see the drivers come together. Mr. Dennis led that. A lot of drivers chipped in their time over the summer to do that, and their students and their children who also helped. So we are headed in the right path. It just doesn't go as fast as we wanted to. Anything from you all? Any questions?
No, I really appreciate what you're doing in transportation right now. It sounds like the team's coming together, and certainly your leadership is appreciative. So thank you, and keep
In there.
Let's all keep praying.
one day at a time. And I guess if I could ask Travis this or Mrs. Morgan, where do we stand right now on the buses on the latest routes? What time are the students getting home now?
I mean, Sierra can probably tell you that better than I can. I know that we've definitely cut those times down, but I'll let Sierra take that one.
Okay, yes. So that first week, we noticed it was about 4 to 5 routes. Maybe after that second week that was coming in late, we was able to revamp those routes and get those routes minimized. The last route this week got revamped so that we can get it shortened. So I think our last bus is probably coming in about 5:15 to 5:30. So we are working on those times. We are reshaping some of these routes the best we can, working with the routing team to get that done. But
And
yeah.
are we outsourcing the routing team still, or do we have it in-house? Both? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at you and you don't have one.
Yeah, trying to work together with them as well. It's different. It's different. We are still working with that team.
No, I know. The reason why, and I guess this is not necessarily you, but maybe this is more of a Mrs. Morgan or a Mr. Showers, but the amount of money that we spent on routing, I don't think we're getting our money's worth. And I guess the question I would have is, have we contacted First Student, or I would be shocked if that was something that you and Mr. Kunkel agreed on when we did the contract, right? When they sold us a bill of goods, was that reviewed enough, and what are we doing right now? Because that was quite a bit of money that was spent.
I agree, especially when our people have to be making the changes.
So the routing, there was difficulty from the beginning with the routes. Some of that was from our side, some of that was from their side. The routing design started late. We had trouble getting students into the right database for them to route at the beginning. We came together, from my perspective, we had a team here internally that worked tremendously hard. And we also had people from First Students that were also working tremendously hard, working all day, all night. Did we get good routes the first time through? No, we did not. Have we continued to work through them? Have they continued to work through them as well? They have. We have had a router in our office the first 2 weeks of school. Am I right on that?
Yes, first 2 weeks, and then not this week, but they will be back next week.
Correct. And so could it have gone better? Absolutely. Have they worked hard as well as us working hard? I believe they have.
I will just add that when it comes down to routing, anyone can be taught the software. The problem comes with knowing the knowledge in the district. So going forward, you know, my goal is, like, I would need the drivers to help me because I don't know how to get to McDonald's from here, okay? So I would need the drivers to teach me what they know. We may be taught the system, but they know the area. So that will be the difference. We can hire anybody to do it, but when you don't know what street or what's what, that's what's lacking.
Right. Okay, no, I appreciate that, and I think we'll talk about probably some of that communication later on in the agenda as we go.
So is this router going to, he's coming back next week,
He's coming back next week.
but then is he going to be staying down there, or is this going to be actual or remote
No,
still?
he has been, well, this one that we got, he is new to the project, but he is more thorough, I will say that. He is more clear, and he understands it, gets it a little better. I think he's just been in the game so long that he knows, but he will be here all week as we work through those factors that we're dealing with.
But
Just
eventually,
to clarify, are they not working with the bus drivers who do know the area, like they're working together? Or is
So-
it like completely separate?
So the drivers came in and they voiced their concerns and they made the changes with the router. So
Okay.
they actually was able to sit with him and make changes the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, because that seems ideal, is that the people who know the area have a stake in the planning.
And just to clarify, the remote routing model is gone.
No, it's
The
still,
remote router,
we're still communicating with them remote too.
so,
no, I'm talking about the remote router that had been a part of their proposal. We're not using that person anymore?
We're still using them as well. So we report changes through a spreadsheet, through team chat, and through a daily meeting that we have now. So we have a weekly standing Wednesday meeting, but we also have a now every day meeting with them with changes.
so he's going to be in the office this week, but after this week, will he be will we have a router in-house anymore, or is it just or is it going to be remote?
It's probably going to be remote.
That's where my concern is, because any upcoming changes on the daily would be a problem. Because how long is the turnaround time?
Of course, it depends
For a
on what the
change.
change is. If it's a full route, that can take a couple of days. If it's bus stops, it just depending on trying to get the driver on board with that, getting parents on board, getting, students. It just depends on the situation on how it turns around. I say with those first few that we did on a Saturday, I think we completed on a Sunday, and it took Saturday and Sunday just to do about 2 routes.
Do we have any qualified routers in transportation right now? I know last year, and you weren't here last year, but I think we had somebody, and I don't know who this person is, and I apologize because I've referenced you a couple times. A person stayed late and kind of fixed the routing the last 2 weeks. We were able to survive without so many cancellations that were happening. Does that person still work at the district? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at Travis here, I'm sorry. Do we still have that router? Is it possible that we could reach out to that router maybe and have them kind of work as a liaison between the two?
I kind of think that's what might be happening.
And I don't
on-
want to,
on the
obviously,
daily.
I don't want to get in, we just talked about duties, day-to-day responsibilities. That's an idea I have, I guess. Mrs. Morgan, I would certainly be in
I'm guessing
favor.
you're talking about Michelle Ferguson, and I don't know that for sure, but that would be my guess.
It-
Michelle has been in communication with First Student the entire time.
Perfect.
So she has been acting as that, giving them information, so that she has been in that role. When Sierra came on, Sarah took the upper portion of that role, but Michelle still works with First Student as well.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Michelle has
Thank
a
you.
good knowledge of the district, what buildings do, and that information is important on how we communicate. Yeah.
Excellent, no, that's good to hear. That way we have a good link between the two. Thank you. Do you have anything? All right, awesome, I appreciate
you.
it. Thanks again for your efforts, and let your team know we appreciate it as well. All right. Next item is going to be public comments, 3 minutes. These are for agenda items. I'm going to ask that you stick to the agenda items for discussion. All right, and I will also just make a quick little reminder. We talk about hate having no home. I think we need to model it for those. Every single week, I'm tired of the hateful comments, the booing, the drowning out of other people. That's going to stop. So we can model the behavior for our students. That being said, Melissa Sturworth.
I'm a mom, community member, bus driver. I wasn't going to speak, but the routes we were given to begin with, we have struggled with them. They weren't the best routes. Luckily, we have enough drivers that know what they're doing that we've had to rewrite a lot of the routes ourselves. Talking about having a remote router, sometimes we have to have things changed right now. For instance, we had a driver that went in and was upset with Sierra the other day. I talked to her. It wasn't Sierra that was changing things. And from my understanding, we are not allowed to make changes because I believe that's breach of contract. I could be wrong, but that's what I've been told. But this driver had made changes. Her time, she was supposed to leave at 6:36.
So we'll stop your time right there. Is that true, Vicki? What's that? That they're not allowed to change their routes?
No.
Or so what was it?
No, we've been told that in-house we cannot
Make changes to the routes.
It has to be put into a spreadsheet and sent to
Well, that makes sense, I guess, to make sure it goes through. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead and restart it.
So
there,
driver
Terry.
was, her route said leave at 6:36. She changed it to 7:15. The routing company changed the time without her knowing, and we had a sub put on that route this morning. He left at 6:36 and missed all the kids, and the parents were calling him being upset. When I talked to the router, because mine was changed after I had called all my parents, he said, it's just 5 minutes, it's not that big of a deal. 5 minutes when it comes to busing is huge.
Right.
You're missing students and parents are getting mad. And we're already in hot water with these parents.
Sure.
So we really need to think about, and as far as the router that we had qualified last year, that was Michelle Ferguson. She was doing 4 jobs at the end of the year. So yes, she's done routing before at other schools. She can do it. She's helped all of us. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, appreciate it.
Take it for what it's worth, I guess. I'm just a bus driver.
No, we appreciate
That's
it.
who we want to hear from.
You guys are where the rubber meets the road, no pun intended.
Yes.
Do you have anything, Mrs. Morgan, are you tracking about that bus missing all the kids this morning?
I did not know that. I've not had a phone call on that, but,
And so the kids all did get picked up and they made it and, all right? No, agree. I just want to make sure that at the end of the day, our responsibility is making sure they get there, and certainly Mrs. Morgan and Mr. Showers needs to be aware of any of those issues. Yep. No, and we certainly appreciate it. Does not go unnoticed. The next person is Amanda Van Mill.
Good evening. I wanted to check and see if the agenda is the same as what was put out. Have any changes happened to the agenda tonight?
no.
We approve the agenda.
Same.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to speak about 2 things. I first wanted to thank my bus driver. He drives the Lizard bus in my neighborhood. The other day, one of my children, readjusting to routine and everything, kind of spaced out on the bus. And I don't really know how this happens when you have a twin who's getting off the bus at the same time, but she missed getting off the bus at our home. And our bus driver was very kind and just brought her right back to our house. So I wanted to say a big thank you, because I know those are things that happen every single day on the bus, like every single day, like they were just talking about, like, that happens. But I did want to say thank you to our Lizard bus driver for just, noticing when those things are not happening in the way that they should be. I also wanted to thank Sierra, because the other day, same kiddo, again, we're adjusting, thought that she had a doctor's appointment. The appointment had been canceled. And so there was confusion of whether she should be a bus rider or a car rider. and I had to end up going to school to pick her up. Allison Gates, the principal at the elementary, sat with my child and just waited with her, which I think is amazing that a principal is willing to take that time on a Friday afternoon. But also Sierra herself called me to see, did my child get home, who picked up my child. And so, you know, the level of dedication that's being taken from the people who are with our kids every day and have already learned their routines, even though they're brand new, and those routines have changed a lot with all the routing all the way up to the top level. I just, you know, I think there's understandably been so much shared in the community about things that have gone wrong and things that have been scary and things that have been hard, and I absolutely get that. But I just wanted to share those things with y'all. The other thing that I wanted to speak about was the ongoing lawsuit that we have for the teacher who had the sign removed from his classroom. In continuing to read the transcripts from the depositions that have been given, I don't know what the expectation for the board members has been in participating in that process, how much you guys are tracking those things and reading those things or not. But there was a teacher who gave a deposition who used to work for our school district, who left our school district because of the sign being removed from the teacher's classroom. Not that teacher's classroom, but from another teacher's classroom. And he spoke very frankly about how that is the reason that he left our school district. He had been a veteran teacher in our district for a very long time, very well respected AP class teacher, served many student groups. And he talked about how that was the final straw in a long timeline where he had been trying to get more support for our LGBTQ students. And so I just wanted to highlight that testimony that he gave. If you haven't, and again, I don't know what the ask has been, but that is publicly available. Anyone in the community can look at it. Y'all can look at it as board members. And, you know, I think that that's something that we need to be aware of, is that it doesn't just affect the students or just that teacher. There were some real effects from that, and I hope you guys are reading those things.
Yep,
Thank
and
you.
yeah, we cannot comment on pending litigation, but I'm sure everything will come out at the end here. Next item is Courtney McKeon.
Hello, Courtney McKean, Little Miami resident. I also wanted to say thank you to our bus drivers and Sierra, and we have seen the transportation team work really hard. But I did want to still shed light that the things that the community saw of parents telling their story of what was happening to their kids on the first day of school was not just normal first day of school, the bus is late. That's a very scary thing for any parent, parents that don't have kids that are on the bus, parents that have kids on the bus, hearing every parent's nightmare of kids not being on the bus at the stop when they got there, kids being dropped off in the wrong place. And I think that that really needs to be taken into consideration when we talk about having brought in first student. I don't ever remember hearing anything like this. I definitely have seen late buses on the first week of school. We've all seen it. That's normal and expected. And I think a lot of the community members, you know, we might be like, oh yeah, it's really late, until this year. It was so far beyond that. And I think that I just ask that the board, Regina, the transportation team, and everyone really consider, our bus driver said, don't do it. And we hired first student anyway. We hired them more. We hired a router. Then they caused such a problem that we then had to hire more drivers that don't know our area, drivers that literally told parents, I don't know where I am. Kids were giving drivers directions saying, this isn't my stop. Those are all things that are very important to our community for the safety of our children. So we ask that you do what you can to please bring all these things back into our district, our people, our bus drivers, because they know what they're doing. They know these routes, they know these streets. They know that you can't be dropping off on certain corners, right? Or certain areas that aren't safe. So please understand that. Thank you to our transportation team for all that you have done, but also we ask that everyone really pushes for bringing everything back in-house. Thank you.
No, appreciate that. And I think, what do we have? Is it 4? We have 4 drivers that are in the pipeline, right? Was it 3 or 4 that we have in the pipeline that was mentioned?
4.
So definitely, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, thank you. Next is Vanessa.
Vanessa, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say something real quick. It is everybody's goal to have our entire transportation department self-sustained internally. when we don't have enough drivers, and that had nothing to do with the routes, the not enough drivers, but when we didn't have enough drivers or we didn't have somebody that we felt could reroute the entire district, we did go out, but it's not because we didn't post for those positions and try to find somebody. We did do that. We posted for the supervisor position 2 or 3 times before we finally coaxed Sierra into coming. But it's not without effort, and we all want the same thing, which is to have all of our drivers, internal employees, and our entire transportation department as an internal employee. So I just want you to know that that's not just your goal. I believe that that's everybody's goal. Sorry,
No, no,
Vanessa.
thanks.
Vanessa Srikantham, mom of a 5th grader in the district. I want to talk to the board about something I think that you guys need to take a little bit more seriously, and that is due diligence. Not blaming people, not politics, just due diligence. And transportation is a very real example of why that matters. The transportation issues weren't something that just suddenly started this summer. By September of last year, the district was canceling extracurricular bus trips because of route issues and driver issues. By January, we were being warned about route delays. By March, the route cancellations were rampant. By May, we were on the news. The problem was known. Then we tried a series of, we'll use the word solutions. Changes in leadership, outside, again, we'll use the word expertise, routing changes, and ultimately a contract for additional drivers. And as Courtney said, we had all those issues the first week of school with getting some of our Panthers home. We had children being left at school, riding buses where adults didn't seem to know where they belonged or who they belonged to. And I'm not saying that there's not really one person to blame. I mean, I personally think that the person who probably has the most blame is no longer with Little Miami. But I'm saying because this is when due diligence matters. When you know there's a problem, and you knew there was a problem last fall, we waited to take action until the spring and summer. You spend money to address it, the job isn't finished just because you vote yes or no. You have to ask, what does success look like? What safeguards are in place? How will we know it's working? What happens if it isn't? Dr. Showers told us last month that we were working to correct the routing problems, that there was an opportunity for you guys to ask those questions, and there weren't really a lot of questions asked. And I hope that's what the board can take away from the experience. It's not who to blame, but what you could learn from it. Because this isn't the only area where we need to look at the bigger picture. We're running out of space, but we can build new buildings because we're at the capital debt, according to a capital debt cap by the state of Ohio. We are running out of funding from the state, and there's no plan from the state to give us more funding, and there's no conversation, at least from the community standpoint, that you guys are considering these things. There's a lot of debate about new council and who should be our career center representative, and that audit that we spent money on that we still haven't heard anything about 8 months later. I'd like to have an update about that. Meanwhile, we're spending attention on classroom displays and what book fair vendors we use and how we influence our curriculum and other operational issues that you said are Ms. Morgan's responsibility. And I'm not saying that you're making wrong decisions. I'm just saying that you need to look at the bigger picture a little more publicly. I'm not saying it's not happening, but we're not seeing it happening. These are issues that will shape our district for years, and you need to focus where your attention matters most. Our students, staff, and community deserve a board that understands the distinction between due diligence and just talking points, and we deserve a little better than we're getting right now.
Thank you. I will touch on a couple of those things you mentioned. First off, if you're referring to the person no longer on the board, at the time.
With Little Miami.
No longer with Little Miami. Oh, okay. Got it. Okay. No, I was going to say because this happened before a few people on the board were on the board to fix. Now, hang on. I let you talk. I didn't interrupt you. Now, the thing comes with the, let's talk about the transportation. We do not handle the day-to-day, but if things are not going down the right path, we certainly will have those difficult discussions. We did have discussions in executive session. There were many good conversations in executive session. Now, I don't know if everything from executive session was mentioned to you, but we had some good discussions. Hang on a second. You'll have your 3 minutes at the end. As far as taking time out for displays in the classroom, that has nothing to do with the day-to-day operations at Little Miami. Has nothing to do with it. We are able to multitask. We've not discussed it at a meeting. I don't believe that any time's been taken away from...
Members, I'm going to have to call a point of order.
What is your point of order?
Mr. Wallace has drifted into an area that he doesn't belong in. I appeal his decision to comment on one of our people right here. This appeal will require a second and a vote. Is there a second?
All right. So we have had these difficult discussions, and we're going to talk about having the board retreat too. I know Mr. Whiting and Mrs. Horvath have discussed it. So these things are happening here. I just think a lot of times people are putting out noise that is not necessarily accurate. So I appreciate that, appreciate your time. I love your emails. So next being said, oh, I'm sorry, you had something to say? All right, appreciate that. Next, we'll go to the treasurer's report.
Under item D, number 1, I ask for the board's approval of the monthly financial reports, please, and bank reconciliation.
I move.
I'll second.
All right, discussion?
Yeah, this is actually the first month of our new fiscal year, July 2026. We have, of course, included as the bank reconciliation, we have a cash summary. So not a whole lot of activity, obviously. It's the first month of the fiscal year. We've been wrapping up everything from June. We have some revenue report from the general fund, and then, like I said, we have a cash summary of all fund, individual funds, and then we have 2 budgetary reports for the general fund.
All right. Any comments? Roll call?
Mrs. Bullock?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Whiting?
Yes.
Mrs. Horvath?
Yes.
Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, I ask for the board's approval of the contracts as listed.
So moved.
I'll second.
Mr. Siebert, Mrs. Horvath. All righty.
All right, discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to go over each one of them briefly. Bear with me here, there's a few of them. The first one's with Raptor Technologies. This is a service contract. It's a training and behavior management platform. If you want more detail on that, I'd probably need somebody to explain it even further than what I got. This is out of my wheelhouse. We have Lango LLC. That is actually Lango language. It's for translation services for those that English is a second language. The next one, we have ABC Periodic Therapy. This is also a service contract. This is for independent education evaluations. Our next one is Aptigee. This is for a messaging and group connect platform. It's like essentially like a one-stop shop for everyone to be able to log in and be able to send messages. I don't think Steven's here today. Yeah, it's a one-stop shop. We already use some of their products where you can actually go to the website, mobile app, live feed, social media posts, and so on with one tool. So that brings it all together. We have 3 contracts with the Warren County Educational Service Center. These are student placements, and that actually is, yes, 1 student for each one of those based on their needs. We have Medicare Transportation Services, and it is a transportation service. We have Complete Care Providers, which is also a transportation service. We have Gifted Healthcare, which is for special education services for our students, for services that we cannot provide ourselves. And of course, that's what the Warren County Educational Services Center does. We have Best Point Education and Behavioral Health, also a student placement. We have the Talbert House Prevention Services. That is also, there's no cost to that, of course, but that is a prevention service and education. That's just an MOU. And then we have our special education program review. And let's see here, once that. We actually had that on last meeting. To be honest, I got to double check to see if that's even supposed to be on there. Is that supposed to be on there, Travis? Do we know? Is that so? Okay, I'll double check it, but it has 0 cost because I thought we approved that last month, to be honest. And then we have Aubrey, and that is actually a 3-year fee. That's not 1 year, thank goodness. But that is for a dashboard. It gathers and aggregates data together, bless you, and pulls together information, scoring, IEP information, you name it, for students. It brings it all into one area. Like I said, that's a 3-year price and not just 1 year. Yeah, let's see.
Well, thank you for answering my email on all these, questioning all these.
Yes, Mandy asked lots of questions on it, and that's good.
But I know last month, we spent almost 4.5 million, close to it, for the
Yes.
WCESC.
Yep.
And now we have, and that was for 17 students?
Overall, well, I'm not 100% on that, so that's not my area, obviously. But
You know how
that
many-
is a year-long service contract for, like I said, all those different services that are listed on there, OT, PT, mental health, you name it, speech, and so on. Like I said, those are areas that we don't have, obviously, staffing, so we have to outsource it.
Right.
That's for the year. That is one area, and actually I'll address this later when we talk about the forecast and so on, is special needs is obviously very expensive, and the state doesn't really fund special needs. They give us a little, and I'll go over that a little bit later. But just to throw it out there, we get about, 1.4 million from the state total with special education. I think last year we spent over 14 million on special education related services. That is a major area that the state requires you to provide, but doesn't fund, unfortunately.
Is there any other, I probably asked this last month, any other organization that we could go to get a price quote to see if there's any differences in prices?
Yeah, we've done that in the
That's
past.
like 200, you know.
Yeah, it's other educational service centers. Each county has one. We've done that in the past where we look to other counties essentially to go to, and either one, they were more expensive, or two, couldn't provide the service for us. And then also, I believe is it on odd years, that you have to inform that educational service center that you're going to go to a different one.
Yeah.
There's some
you
weird
explained
weird
that.
language in the law. I don't know how it got there, but you have to let them know in an odd year that you're not coming that next year to use their services. But we have shopped around in the past to look for, additional services, but so far we've maintained and stayed with the Warren County.
I just don't know if it'd be less expensive to hire our own. To be
Some-
able
well,
to
that's why
do.
that's why we did the Sykes. We hired 3 of our own to save money. But overall, it depends on, here's one of the problems too, and Ms. Morgan, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but since it's a la carte, we might need different services each year. Now, we need a lot of the same ones, but there could be some that change a little bit. Once you hire somebody and you don't need them, that's the other problem. It's like, okay, what are we gonna have them do now because we have them for that specific thing? Suddenly, we don't have that many kids that need that service. And then you get into an issue where, okay, what are we gonna do with that person? Because now we're still paying them, but we don't need the service like we did before, which is a problem. Yeah, so that is an advantage of outsourcing, of course. But yeah, trust me, I don't like it.
It's excessive.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It's like a lot.
It's a ton of money.
I
We're
mean,
required
for
by
minimal
law.
students, and I know we need to, and I want to.
We need to provide
but
the
it
services,
just seems
absolutely.
that
The state needs to fund it, plain and simple.
it's very expensive. Yeah.
It's gotten very expensive for us.
And I can tell you, I'm in a position in a smaller school that has a very limited budget, and I am always in the market for trying to get the best deal, and I can't do any better either.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
All right. Any other comments?
Well, there was one more. He answered all my questions on my email, but there, one of the transportation services, it was like $600 one way, and it was,
Yes.
how often?
Once a week.
Okay, so once a week. So it's $1,200.
No, 600.
Okay, so,
So once a
because
week,
it says one way, so how are they getting back from?
We drive them up on one day,
Sunday.
on Sunday, I believe, and they bring them back on Friday.
The school is out during our transportation time. We don't have an additional bus to go pick up the student. And so we have to hire that out. And so on Sunday, we drop the student off, but on Friday, we don't have that additional service.
Yeah, trust me, I don't like that amount at all.
I know, because I'm thinking,
I'm
we
like,
could
okay.
take, even with gas and charging someone to drive, be so.
And we got a good
I'm with
schedule
you.
this year.
All the businesses that we should be opening.
Yep.
I
Yes.
know, right? We talk about it all the time. Transportation is one of them.
Right, we got a good schedule for this transportation. Again, wasn't that the issue we had last year or 2 years ago? Is it the same?
Yes, yeah.
So,
Everything is still in place.
awesome. Cool. Any more questions,
Sorry.
comments? Nope,
No.
all good. All right, next,
Yeah, roll call?
roll call, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Whiting?
Yes.
Mrs. Horvath?
Yes.
Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Mrs. Bullock?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, I ask for the approval of the donations as listed.
Right. Motion to accept the following donations.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Yeah, we have 3 different donations on here. We have an anonymous $100 donation for essentially unpaid meal debt accounts that are, negative. We have a $7,500 donation from the Little Miami Athletic Boosters to the athletic department to supplement uniform expenses for this current school year. We have a donation of multiple art supplies for the various school buildings from, is it Gavi?
I think it's Gabby.
Gabby and Spencer families, which is fantastic. And then the Homegrown Alliance donated an ice maker and the install of it for, I'm trying to think, was that transportation? Yes, that's right, the
Excellent.
transportation building. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that.
These are awesome. I mean, that's,
Yep.
yes, very, very, I don't know what to say. These are really nice donations. That's fantastic.
Absolutely. All right, any more discussion? Nope, just want to thank you guys for that donation and everybody else. Much appreciated. All right, roll call?
Mr. Whiting?
Yes.
Mrs. Horvath?
Yes.
Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Mrs. Bullock?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, I ask for the board's approval of the 5-year forecast that we'll be going over.
So moved?
Mr. Siebert?
Second?
Mr. Wallace? All right, yes. Actually, I have it up on the screen here. I'm not going to go over the 30-page detailed. So I know you guys are upset, but I figured you want to get out here before midnight. But I do have a summary. There's some things I want to concentrate on this year. And this is our summary, and there's some main points I want to talk about, some old forecasts and our current forecast, where we are, what's changed, and so on. And I think there's some really important things to go over here. If we go to the next page here, there's some just main assumptions and things that some of this is based on. We're obviously in the second year of House Bill 96, which is the governor's biennium budget. We've had a lot of legislation adopted, which we'll get into here, about property tax reform, which is much needed, but it has some effects, of course, for the district. As far as regarding state funding, Little Miami is what they call a guaranteed district, and that means we are guaranteed the same funding from fiscal year 20. Now, we are in fiscal year 27 right now, if that tells you anything. So we're guaranteed not to receive less than what we got in fiscal year 20. This forecast includes our staffing plan and additional hires based on enrollment and so on, and our negotiated agreements and so on. And it also includes one of our big expenses, of course, is insurance. Includes the increase in which starts January 1 of 2027, which was an 8.5% increase across the board just for the medical premiums. Dental and vision are going to stay the same. They're locked in for this current calendar year coming up. Calendar year coming up 27. If we go to the next page here, and I know that's a fun one to look at, right? There's a lot of lines on here. Obviously, this is 5 years. The state only requires a 4-year forecast now, but I still like to do the 5. They'll get their, the 4 years that we'll submit to them. But as you can see, we go briefly over here. We have our actual 2026 column. These are actual figures from year end this past school year that we wrapped up on June 30th. And then we have our forecasted years, 2027 going out through 2031. There's some things I want to go over, and this, to be honest, this whole area, you can get stuck in the weeds here, to be honest. We can see the majority of our revenue comes from certain areas, property taxes and state revenue. Those are our 2 main things, and that's what we're going to concentrate on. And then actually, if we go to the next page, I do want to talk about some of these things. And I want to look at it in a simplified format. If we scroll to the next page, let's see here. There we go. Reset just a little bit. There we go, perfect. This is our forecast back in October of 2025, prior to property tax reform, and this was based on what we knew, all the laws that are in effect and so on. And stuff I want to look at here is, we want to look at the line that says ending cash balances with levies, because we had our November levy of 25 that did pass, so that's why we can look at that line item. As you can see, this is 26, because this was back then, 26 wasn't actual yet, when we have through 30. But the thing I want to look at is those ending cash balances with levies, and I just want to show a big difference here. When we look out in year 30, it's a negative 1.3. So things were okay, but they weren't great, but they were okay. But we're managing based on the laws that are in effect with the legislature passed and so on. The thing we really want to compare is this forecast. If we go to the next page, and I've got some stuff written down, so we'll talk about it. We're looking through 31 now, because we're projecting from 27 to 31. But I just want to talk about how these numbers have changed, and we're looking at ending cash balance with levies again. I just want to point out that, if we're looking at 27 compared to that other forecast we had, and we don't have to go back and forth because I've got the numbers here. But 27, that number ending cash balance is 3.3 million less than the forecast in October 25. When we go over to 28, we're looking at that number. That number, that 11.8 is actually 5.6 million less than our forecast in 2025 in October. If you go over to 2029, we've got a negative, we're almost breaking even there, we're just negative about 400,000. We have a $10.2 million decrease in our forecast in 29, in our current one. And it just keeps getting worse, and we'll go, why is this happening? In 2030, there we have a 14.7 million. Before we were negative 1.3, so we moved about 16 million to the negative even further. And of course, 2031 is a brand new year, and that has a staggering negative $32 million number on it. So you can see obviously where the forecast is going. So what caused this? We're still the same district that is one of the lowest spending districts in the entire state of Ohio. We're in the bottom 10% in fiscal year 25. I expect to be that or real close to it in fiscal year 26. The state hasn't put those numbers out yet. There was 59 districts that spent less than us in the entire state, and that's it, in fiscal year 25. So we're the same district. But I want to show how property tax reform, which I said much needed, but the problem is the state's not picking up on the other side. We all don't like our property taxes. They got out of control. They're trying to fix these things, which is great, but I just feel like maybe it's half done. And so going forward, this is what it's doing to our district. If we go to the next page, we're going to look at our overall revenue. Our revenue, as you can see in the graphs, is very flat. But where does it mainly come from? It comes from property taxes, which is about 63%, and the state is 33%. Actually, the restricted fund, or the state funding itself is 23, but a lot of it comes from what they call homestead and rollback credits, but it does come from the state. So together, it's 33. So we've got two of our main revenue sources. You're talking 96% of your revenue, and they're both flat at this point. And this is the issue that I want to get at here. If you look at the next page here, I just want to show you that this is projected property tax. Now, in the past, we would see some growth. There's a House Bill 920 that, and I'm not going to go too far in the weeds here because I don't want to have you guys glaze over on me here. But there's House Bill 920, which was passed in the 70s, and pretty much is when a levy is passed at a school district, that's pretty much the most money it can generate. So just for instance, like our emergency levy, it generates 10.6 million. It passed at almost 14 mils. Its effective rate right now is just a little over 5 mils. So it's not even collecting even close because as house values and everything go up, the millage goes down. There used to be what they called a 20 mil floor. That's kind of there, but not there anymore, if that makes sense. The 20 mil floor was a legal level that you could have your millage at for each school district. Well, the new House bills and things that were passed essentially took that away, and they also took our emergency levy and added it to this, because we have been at 20 mils since, I want to say, 2018. And so what would happen is property values went up. We would get a little increase to go along with inflation. We were gaining revenue. There is no doubt about it. On the flip side of that, the millage would go down. It would go down to 20. It would stop, but we'd get some revenue. Now with new property tax reform, like I said, once again, I'm sounding like a broken record, absolutely needed, but I'm just not sure if this is going to work out, at least not for Little Miami, put it that way. You can go below 20 mils, but then they took our emergency levy and added it to the 20 mil calculation, if that makes sense. So now we're at, like, say, 25 mils. Well, because what I referred to in House Bill 920 is, well, now you've got more millage to drop down. And I hope this isn't getting too in the weeds with anybody. But if you're at 25 mils and property values go up, now you can go down to 24 and 23 and 22 and still generate the same amount of money. When you're at the 20 mil floor, like I said before they changed it, you couldn't go below 20. So if you went down to 19 mils, legally you couldn't be there, and they bumped you up a mil. A mil for us right now is about $1.9 million. So it's a way for a growing district like ours, because I think in the last decade, we've been averaging about 150 kids each year. We're growing. So that was one way for us to keep up with inflation to a degree. Those are gone, and you can see that right here. Property tax revenue, that is flat as can be. So we don't really have any growth in property taxes anymore because of property tax reform. And I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying that's where we are. That's just the way it is. If you go to the next page, this is our unrestricted grants and aid, and this is actually what I call state funding. You see a little bit of growth in there, but you can see it kind of go around a little bit. That main growth is me assuming right now, and I don't know because there's going to be a new governor coming in, there's going to be a new budget, everything else. The majority of that growth in there is two things. It's a performance supplement because we scored well on the report card, and then it's also an enrollment supplement because we keep growing above the percentage they say is high enrollment, I guess you'd say. That's about 1.4 million for us each year right now. Beyond this year, I have no idea if that's going to continue. The assumption is it will continue. But even if it does continue, as you can see, there is no steep incline in state funding. Like I said, we're on the guarantee, which is back from fiscal year 20. That means we get 100 kids, we're not getting any more money. We get the same amount of money from the state, unfortunately. So now we have our two main revenue sources that are extremely flat. We have property tax revenue that's been flattened, and now we have our state revenue, which has been flat for years at this point. And I don't see us leaving the guarantee anytime soon because we would probably run out of room before we get off the guarantee, to be honest, because we need a ton of students to get off that guarantee. And when I say that, they take the formula. They got a formula, they calculate how many times the kids are, and that number has to be bigger than fiscal year 20. It's real simple. Our guarantee in state funding is about $3.9 million. The state gives us base cost of about $811 per student. So you can do the math on that. It's going to take a lot of kids to get off the guarantee. So what's being said, I'm just trying to show that this is where we're at right now. And like I said, the difference between where we were when we knew what laws were in effect and how everything was working then and where we are now. On our expenditure side, we're not far from where we were in October 25, to be honest. Yeah, they've gone up a little bit, inflation and everything else. But we're a service industry. The majority of our expenses are salaries and benefits, about 82%. And then our purchase services. And Mandy, this is where we're talking about special ed and Warren County Educational Service Center. That's the line item where that goes to. And we've been seeing that grow, purchase services. Essentially, that's you're outsourcing something that you can't do yourself. And that's mainly what that line is special education. And that's been growing yearly by, we have what they call maintenance and effort. I won't get into that too much, but it's all our special ed expenses, K through 12, actually PK through 12. And they've been growing anywhere from $700,000-800,000 to over $1 million a year, unfortunately. But they go with enrollment too, and the number of students you have and needs and all that, so it can vary, but it just keeps increasing. But if we look at this overall, if you go to the next page, what's this saying for us? Where are we going? It's just another way to look at it. You can see our revenue and you can see our expenditures. I'd love for inflation to slow down. I'd love for our district to quit enrolling students and all those kind of things. And I say that with a grain of salt because in my world, that would hopefully flatten out expenses and everything else. Obviously, it's great. People want to move here, and we want all the kids and everything. We're getting to be a very big district. But this is just where we're heading in 2031. You can see, and like I said, in 2029, we're at a negative fund balance. So we got to start thinking about it. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record again. I've talked many times, we're going to need a levy coming up. We're going to need a levy. And I've said a few times a year at a minimum. Obviously, we're going to need a levy with the negatives and so on. And we'll have discussions about that and lots of data and everything else. We can all look at it. And then obviously the board can come up with what they think the best choice is going forward at some point. But we're heading that direction. And here's another way to look at it. If we go to the next page. This really hits home to me. This is days of cash on hand. This is from our October 25 forecast before property tax reform. And you can see we had 139 days, 113, 81 days, 44 days. We didn't get negative till 2030, and back in October 25. If you go to the next screen, these are our days on hand now, essentially your cash reserves, because everybody thinks there's such a large fund balance, but you're talking a $70+ million budget. This is where we are now. We're at 95, 54, -2 in 29, which we used to have 44, and we're negative in 2030 and negative there. So you're essentially running out of money much, much sooner. Like I said, the biggest thing here is we now have two very stagnant, flat revenue sources. Not only is our guarantee at the state level flat, but now our property taxes are very flat. Like I said, once again, property tax reform needs to happen. We all want it to happen because, well, they're getting out of control. It's just, it's black and white. They're getting out of control. I don't know if the state, well, I do know. I mean, I'm obviously not a genius. I'm not in the legislature, but I think there's other ways and different things they could do or continue to help things out. We talked about it earlier, Mandy, with funding special education. That would be huge for us. It'd be huge for most districts across the state that if they fully funded it or even funded more, I mean, our state share is 10%, and that actually works out almost the same for special ed for us because we're getting about 1.4 million, and we're spending 14 plus. That's, a big swing between the two for required services, which are very needed, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Very, very needed. But they're just not funded, so the local taxpayer has to fund it all. And that goes into another thing real quick, and that's the end of my summary real quick, but and I won't go too far into the weeds, but the state share, which is a minimum 10%, that's where we are, that's why we're on the guarantee. They use two things to figure out your state funding. It's property valuation per pupil, and they use your average median income. And when they think that you have what they call local capacity, and it's funny because they'll lower the state revenue, but they think you have local capacity on the local side to pass levies. Well, levies aren't automatic by any means. Not too many people want to go, yeah, let's spend more. But the state thinks, okay, you have the capacity to pass a levy in your hometown. You do, but it doesn't always happen, obviously. So that's kind of a problem with the funding from the state model is they see, okay, we can give you less because you guys can afford more at home. Well, that's not always true. You can't, just because it looks like on paper you're able to afford more at home, you can't always afford more at home. So like I said, it's not a guarantee, but that's just one of the problems with the state funding is it takes into effect of, okay, we're going to give you less revenue, but they're going to assume you're going to get revenue from your local sources. Well, the local sources only have so much, obviously, and that's obviously one of the reasons why they did property tax reform, but I think they need to keep going a little further to do something else. But I just want to point out, like I said, it's tried to show some graphics and show like where we're heading, and we're going to have, like Dave said earlier, Wallace, that we're going to have some discussions. Like you said earlier, there's going to be some tough discussions coming up in different things of where we're going, where we're heading, and by no means is this little Miami. You can look at districts across the entire state right now, and they went from, oh, we're doing okay, we're doing okay, but not so okay before now, and that's just because of the way it's changing. Essentially, you're in the middle of the game, and they change some of the rules. You're in the middle, you're in this third quarter, and it's like, touchdowns are worth 1 point now. Okay. You got to adapt to it and roll with it, and that's what we're doing. So we'll going forward, I think, like I said, we'll provide data. We're going to look at different things. We're going to figure out which direction we're going, what our best, options are, and go from there. Like I said, I'm not sugarcoating anything. It's where we are. I'm not trying to be a downer, but with property tax reform and being on the guarantee with state funding, that's where little Miami is. And like I said, there's many other districts that are in the exact same place we are, except the kicker for us is, and I'll wrap this up because I know you guys probably, okay. But the kicker for us is we are growing, and the last I heard, there's only about 30-some districts in the state that are like we are. They're growing, and they're on a guarantee. A lot of them don't have students coming in anymore. And then at that point, you can probably reduce staff through attrition and so on. You can cut your expenses and everything else because you don't have to provide as many services because your enrollment's going down. We're the opposite, unfortunately. So we've been going up. But my computer turned off. It told me I talked too long. But that is as where we are right now and where we're going. Like I said, this can change. I could change this next week, to be honest, if I get new information. This is just everything I know right now as far as the state. The state hasn't even updated their current funding for this year. That usually doesn't really get updated till October, to be honest. But these are what's projected at the moment. And I feel pretty good about these projections, but once we see some changes, obviously I'm going to send it to you guys and be like, okay, here's what changed. If it changes $10, that's one thing. If it changes, a couple $100,000, that's a whole different story for us. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions or anything on this. Let me get logged back in here. It kicked me out for some reason.
There was a February 5-year forecast, and I guess I just didn't know. I thought that was with the property tax reform. What was the difference between?
No, everything
February?
wasn't enacted yet. They didn't even know. And if you recall, it's even in my summary and all that stuff, they weren't even sure how they were going to essentially calculate a lot of this in February. They told people not even to pay their tax bills. A lot of people would pay their tax bills for all year. They said only pay the first half. We don't know what we're doing for the second half. Matter of fact, people in our district, the way our reappraisals fall and so on, There's a tax credit that everybody's probably saw on their tax bill. They're getting a credit. That's a one-time deal, as far as I know. They're not going to see it on their next tax bill. I projected it was going to be, based on my software and everything else, going to be about 3.2 million, but when the state ended up figuring it out, it was 2.2 million. So they sent us a check for 2.2 instead of 3.2. So that came down the middle, but they calculated it different. So they're still, I mean, none of it's concrete, written in stone. I mean, I hope it is at this point, but
So you're taking
I
in
can't
all
guarantee.
account of all of those, because I think that one was.
Yes. Yeah, so it's, you know, they were there, but the calculation of them and everything, no one was 100% sure how things were being calculated. Anything from us all the way to the county to the Department of Taxation, the state level. They were still trying to figure everything out because you had a lot of these House bills contradicting each other, and it's like, okay, if you do this one, well, that one says you can do this. So I think they've worked most of it out, but I'm just going with based on all the knowledge and what's legal. You know, it's a law right now. If there's changes, obviously I'll update you guys and let you know. But this is the way it's looking right now for us. And like I said, it's looking this way across the state from many, many districts, unfortunately. So we gotta figure it out. We gotta figure it out.
I know. Well, good thing the financial review is underway. So we got all the information to him that he needed by the end of July. So thank you, Terry, for doing that. And he
Like I said, a
has
ton of
started
files.
that. So
Yeah, and I just want to point out.
and that we're trying to be proactive about it. Let's see if there's anything that we can change or do.
Yeah,
If we're asking
and,
for
and it was
money.
referred to as an audit earlier. It's not an audit, correct?
No,
That's what
it's
you
not.
guys
It's
keep
a
telling me.
review. It is
Yeah.
a review.
Yeah, not sure why you need another third party, but that's your guys' call.
Yep.
But books are open, and anybody wants to look at anything, audits-wise, data, you name it, it's always available.
See what
Thank
kind
you.
of advice he gives us.
Absolutely.
Any other comments? Are we going to hear from, Russ, are we going to hear from the Business Advisory Council tonight or not? Or the committee? No? Okay.
I don't think so.
I think David will give a report under board reports. I sent that to the board this week.
Okay, yeah, you mentioned it. I didn't know if we've already assigned our board representatives or not to be on those committees, but that's fine. If Mr. Whiting's going to take care of it.
Roll call? Or?
Yeah, roll call.
Okay. Mrs. Horvath?
Yes.
Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Mrs. Bullock?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Whiting?
Yes.
Thank you, and you guys are probably happy because that's all I have.
That's all we need. Thank
I
you.
appreciate that, yeah.
Mrs. Morgan?
Yes, I ask for the board's approval of all items under personnel.
So moved.
Second?
We are
Discussion.
winding down on hiring, and now we're picking up on supplemental positions, and we certainly appreciate all the extra work that our staff members do across the district to support all of the extras for our students and staff.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, appreciate all the teachers as we're getting past page 6 and 7 this last week or so, so
Exactly.
we are chugging along
We
here.
are chugging along.
Yes. Roll call?
Yes, Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Mrs. Bullock?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Whiting?
Yes.
Mrs. Horvath?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I ask for the board's approval of the Transportation Student and Family Handbook as attached.
So moved.
Second? Discussion?
Yes, I believe this is the last of the handbooks that you're going to be approving this year. We've had 3 sections of handbooks. This one we waited on so that Sierra could get her feet under her just a little bit, and Travis as well, to work on this handbook. So I think it'll be better.
Awesome. All right, any more discussion? Vote?
Mrs. Bullock?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Whiting?
Yes.
Mrs. Horvath?
Yes.
Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I ask for the board's approval of Resolution 26-016 as attached.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Yes, this resolution is for our payment in lieu of transportation. It is used when a private school is within 30 minutes of drive time from the building to building during the hours of transportation. If it is within 30 minutes and it's practical for us to transport that student, then we can do payment in lieu of in place of that. This is the list of payment in lieu of at this time.
Any comments? Vote?
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Whiting?
Yes.
Mrs. Horvath?
Yes.
Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Mrs. Bullock?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, I ask for the board's approval of the cross-country field trip as attached.
So moved.
Second? Discussion?
Yes, our cross-country team would like to travel to Louisville, Kentucky to participate in the Trinity Cross Country Invitation, and this is on September 19th. They'll be traveling by a Little Miami bus.
Comments? Vote?
Mr. Whiting?
Yes.
Mrs. Horvath?
Yes.
Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Mrs. Bullock?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I ask for the board's approval of the updated bus driver training program as attached.
So moved.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Yes, this plan was brought before the board maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and since then, we have just tweaked it and updated it. We believe the plan that is attached will continue to help us with recruiting additional bus drivers. This plan gets them involved earlier into the system, trying to get them involved and keep them through the entire training program so that they are better connected, better trained, and have stability through the district through the training program.
Comments?
I don't know who all came up with this.
It was a combination of the recruitment team who talked about needing to look at bonuses. The recruitment team talked about raising the amount we were paying, which was from the old one. Sierra talked some about the importance of making sure that we're getting some of these people who are interested in doing it an opportunity to make enough money to train and do that. It also provides us the opportunity to get them in as aides. She's already working with our drivers who are in the training pipeline to get their aide certificate, but also then work towards van and then work towards that bus driver. So it just provides more flexibility to better utilize the people who are coming to our district. The goal being that at the end of their time training on the buses and with our OBIs, we'll have people who are already invested in our community.
Excellent.
Good, yeah.
All right, vote?
Mrs. Horvath?
Yes.
Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Mrs. Bullock?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Whiting?
Yes.
Thank you. That is all I have.
Thank you. Next item is board communication. This is broad, there's just a couple items to touch on. The question I have is, what board members up here went to transportation and rode on a bus? Mrs. Bullock and Mr. Whiting. Mrs. Morgan, can you have Joe Smith please send me that report for the violations? And the reason I want to talk about communication is, I'll tell you, it's the hypocrisy and the rules and the policies not being followed. So when I went to the high school to observe, apparently it was a big deal, and there was a write-up on me, which is kind of comical because I don't work for the superintendent, but I was written up, and I was not allowed. It was a big deal. They went in an executive session about me going to the school to watch, to observe, to supervise, to do my job, to oversee policies. But yet, with transportation, we get a big kudos for 2 board members going on transportation. And I want to know, what was the difference between sitting on the school bus with students and going into a building?
Yeah, that is, the difference is supervision. While they were on the bus, they were with the driver, with an employee at all times. So I met both of them at transportation, and I stayed with them at transportation until they were met with their bus driver, and then their bus driver took them. When you visited the high school, you refused to be accompanied. You wanted to walk around in the hallways unaccompanied.
Yes, you had a principal that could have very easily done it. I was waiting on the principal, and he was not available, so I wanted to continue on as not to interrupt. I just say that just because I see the hypocrisy with the way we enforce policies and the way we don't enforce policies. And I want to see from the community members that were very upset about a background check that I walked to the building, but yet people on the buses, it's silence. And I'll be the first to say, I absolutely think it is the board members' rights to observe that. But I just wanted to mention that. And then the next item is communication. For starters, as a board member, I have an open door policy. So if any employee has an issue, they can come to me. I wanted to talk about the discrepancy with the teachers being allowed to communicate with the board members, but yet our transportation employees are not allowed to. I've received many emails from teachers. Pretty much, some of them were voicing their discontent for some of the policies. Matter of fact, I received a few of these emails during the school day. But that policy is not enforced. But yet, when there's any criticism from transportation, I noticed that they're not allowed to do that. They were told to abide by the board policy. So all I'm asking is if you can follow the board policy that this board has passed, if you can enforce it fairly within the district, or throughout the district, I should say.
I would like to discuss that board policy. I mean, when there is a situation where there is, I mean, what was our transportation supposed to do when they felt like it was stopped at the administrative level? All their ideas and everything.
Speak into the microphone, please.
Okay, let's try. I said, as with transportation, what was our driver supposed to do? I mean, with this board policy, I think we should revamp it for sure. I do understand that you need to do a chain of command, for sure. But when you feel like you've tried and it's been stopped at the administrative level, what are they supposed to do? Like, they are being told that they can't contact the board with any kind of issues because they'll be breaking the chain of command. So that's why I'm like, there has to be a time where they don't get in trouble for coming to us saying, hey, there's an issue and we want something to be dealt with. Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it needs to be amended.
Yeah, they saw this train wreck coming well in advance.
And that's why I said if we would have listened to that prior, year and a half, 2 years ago, we might not have been in this situation now.
Yep.
So I do agree with the board policy, but you know, you do have to follow a chain of command. So it's like there's a line. So trying to figure out.
Just ask that we abide by the policy fairly. If we're going to hold it to one standard, we just enforce it to everybody. Because it just shows favoritism, and this is some of the issues that we've had within this district, whether it be disciplining or what have you. It seems like we pick and choose when we want to follow policy.
And I do agree with you that we did get teachers emailing us about certain issues and voicing their opinion, and we just all thank them for their email.
Mm-hmm.
But when it did come to transportation issues, that was cut off.
Yep.
They were told that they had to abide by policy. And again, I agree. There has been a discrepancy with that.
Any other comments?
I'm not sure what you're referring to in we have to adhere to the board policy. What are you referencing?
Our board policy on communication, our communications policy.
And what is it you think that says that doesn't work or that isn't being enforced?
What I'm saying is, I think the way it is written, I do not believe that it's being enforced, because how can we have one group that can do it and another group that can't do it? Just by itself tells me that it's not being enforced fairly. Either everybody does it, nobody does it, but it has to be enforced fairly. We can't pick and choose. Only the good comments are allowed to come to the board, but anything critical gets silenced.
I don't think there's been any filtering of any critical comments in any emails I've read.
I think the emails that we're talking about were prior to you being appointed on the
before
board.
you were on the board.
Yeah.
There was a lot of frustration where comments were being made because recommendations were being made to the superintendent that they felt were being ignored, right? So at the beginning of the school year, Mrs. Morgan went to transportation and laid out the rule about this is our policy and you have to stick to it. But yet, as the teachers did it all of last year, nothing was done. So I'm saying as the board makes policy, I'm asking that it gets enforced fairly.
So just to clarify it just a little bit.
Yes.
So there was an investigation that was done. It was in transportation. In that investigation, it came out that we had this board policy, and the board policy wasn't followed. At no point did we say anything to the employee that was included in that. But we did, when Omar did his presentation at the board meeting, or at the transportation meeting, he went through that board policy. We then indicated at the beginning of this year that, yes, this is what the board policy says, so we did do that. I'm happy to hold everybody to the same level. I would just need you guys to tell me when somebody is communicating with you. If I don't know, I won't be able to do that.
What about the teachers? Did you call, and when this was brought to your attention about transportation not being accurate, did you then call all the teachers in the beginning of the school year and hold them to the same standard?
I did not.
Okay. That's what I'm talking about with the policies.
Okay.
And normally when I get the emails, I usually forward them to you, asking you to address them, whether it comes from the community member or not that you're not on.
I do. Okay. I don't recall teachers coming to me, but this year, yeah, I don't.
This year, no, this year they have not. I don't believe this year. It was
Transportation.
Yeah, it was
Other issues.
Yeah, it was last year that we just got
So
bombarded.
this communication all just started at the beginning of this school year. It's something that is in our board policy. I don't know that it's something that we are hanging a hat on, but it is in our board policy that you guys approved in that particular board
It was enough to bring the attorney, you said, to talk to them, so I think it's probably enough to get everybody calibrated on the same.
Yeah.
So that's all we ask, is that the policies get enforced. Thank you. Any other discussion? All right, next item is the board retreat discussion. I think Mr. Whiting or Diane, or did you? Okay.
Well, I wanted to see if we could get something on the books.
Mr. Whiting, I think you sent the email out, did you, or did I miss that?
I did.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mandy, I'm sorry. Mrs. Bull, I'm sorry. All right, so the board retreat discussion. I know we started to do one in February, and
Yeah, and then,
the wheels fell off.
Yeah, we
Yes.
had one scheduled and it was canceled.
and we waited for the vacancy to be filled, so now it's filled, so I thought
I'm
maybe.
fine with doing a retreat, but I can tell you, my best weekend is this coming weekend.
Yeah, I'll be out of town.
I mean, maybe we could just get something on the books. I would just like to hear from every department and see how we can help them, what they're doing, what they need,
Yep.
see what's going on.
Wait.
It's hard to make decisions if we
Talking about
don't.
a board retreat or something where we're hearing from the departments throughout the
That-
district? Because that's different.
That's the board retreat. That's what we were going to do at the board retreat, is listen to every
We were going to have
department.
a retreat where we were fixing some of the things that were going on communication-wise as a board.
Yes.
That would be part of it, yeah. It was going to be like a day-long meeting. Remember, it was going to be like a
I think
Saturday.
you'd have to have one focus or the other. I don't think you can combine the two, myself.
And I think we had the departments coming to that, because I know Regina was working on that too, to get the departments coming, but.
Yeah, I was
I
not
think we
clear.
have
I didn't
so many
realize that's
things
what it was.
that the board, and this is your decision, but so many things that the board can talk about. We do have, Vanessa, I think you said it, we have building concerns, because is our high school going to remain a high school? Because if it is, we need stadium upgrades and parking upgrades. But if it's not going to remain a high school, then do we want to put the money into the stadium and the parking? And all of those types of decisions, we've discussed at BAC. Sorry, Dave, if I'm taking away any of your thunder,
No, no.
David.
Oh, David Whiting.
But those are all conversations that have to be at the board. I sent an email on this in my board update, that we have levy conversations that we have to have. We have negotiations conversations that we have to have. These are all board conversations that I think these are all board level decisions that are critical that we be discussing. Diane, I 100% agree with you that right now, having department heads come in to tell you what they need from you, I think that they'll reach out to you if they need something from you, but the district needs those conversations on where we're going next, because all of these pieces that we're trying to figure out, we don't have enough stands in our stadium. Do we add on or do we not? Because if it's a middle school stadium, we don't want to add on and it become too much seating for a middle school stadium. Those are strategic conversations that we really need to be having from a board.
Yep.
That would be part of it. That's what I'm saying. That would be the athletic department,
yep.
to be able to address those. So we know when we're making these decisions, we have the information in front of us. That's what I'm meaning by departments.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the original plan was that we were going to have the department heads come and not give us a once-over
Right.
of their lane as far as what they're the experts in and what keeps them awake. Then after that, we were going to then be able to discuss more in detail about some of these items. And certainly this is not one that we're going to be able to knock out in a day or a weekend. This is going to be, but we need to force the conversation right now, so we're not just chasing every shiny object, as well as to help Mrs. Morgan too, to help set the priorities for this district, because right now I don't feel that this board really has any priorities. I think we're just kind of just going with the flow, and I think that would help make us more laser focused in areas to improve. So.
I think to lessen the time, you're more than welcome to meet our board, our department leaders. They all come to the meeting, but I think if they just sent you an email and you reviewed it that way, if you had questions, and that way we're not spending 4 hours on a Saturday communicating with our department leads, which that's not a problem, but I think if we had that information ahead of time, then we could spend the time working during that meeting, which might just make it a little bit more efficient for everyone.
I think that makes more sense.
I mean, that's fine.
Would it be possible, I guess, maybe we can get with Omar and kind of dust off what we originally were going to look at? And then if those department heads can, you can collect those.
Yep.
You know what I mean,
Yep.
just a one-pager?
Yep.
then
And I'll
that'll
just
kind
put them
of
all together and send them to you
Yep, yep.
as a board, and that way if you have questions, we can
Discuss.
get those questions answered ahead of time, so that when
Yeah.
we're having meaty conversation at the retreat and not have it as more of a listening, but a.
And I wouldn't be opposed to having a work session, maybe
Mm-hmm.
after a meeting. We can all kind of pile out of here and go into the library or just go somewhere and have some more of this discussion about some of the items and help kind of, as a board, prioritize and start getting things done. I know you had mentioned, Mr. Whiting, about the expansion, the goals of the district with the expansion. So maybe we can just kind of start putting on that, those discussions.
Isn't that
I
what
don't
the
know what
retreat?
you're talking about.
Work sessions, a lot of
You're
boards have
saying
them.
after the meetings also have an adjunct
Yeah,
meeting?
because it gets them more in detail, and people can, it's public, they can set in, and obviously
Why
they
don't we
have to.
try focusing on one thing at a time and not try to do a bunch of things? I mean, we talked about a retreat, we've got a nice focus for it. Let's focus on that and make a success of that, rather than also trying to piecemeal in all these other things.
Right, well, that's fine. We just asked your availability. And besides this weekend, what's your availability?
Well, let me take a look.
Well, there we go.
What's yours?
I should be pretty good minus the next 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. I
So
mean,
are you wanting to choose a date right now, or do we want to do that after this
We're-
this evening?
uh,
Because that
All right,
could
well,
be a tall order.
let's do that then. I think we're allowed to exchange send some dates. I'm looking at you.
I can send
think.
out an email.
All right, if you can do that, we can just kind of put some dates down, and then and I agree, we need to get with, look at the previous one.
I'll get with
To get
Terry
more
and get our
focus.
calendar synced, and then I will send out dates out into the future and see what works for everybody. How does that sound?
That would be
Sounds
great.
good. And then as far as the work sessions, that was just to build on later. I didn't mean right now.
And I'm assuming you want Omar at the retreat, or you do not?
Yes, he was originally scheduled to be.
Yeah, I guess,
Retreat.
yeah, let's see what, I guess, we come about.
Well, I will get his agenda or his calendar synced with Terry and I's if he's going to be there, but if he's not going to be there, then I won't
It probably wouldn't hurt.
sync.
It probably wouldn't hurt to sync. And then we can decide later if we don't need them or not, but
Mm-hmm.
right now we can probably plan. All right, that being said, next is first read of job descriptions. And I think this is maybe with Mrs. Morgan.
Well, this is just a first read. So it is for you to look over those job descriptions, and next month they'll be on the agenda for approval. It just gives
Is-
you time to look over them
Do
first.
we have the original job description so we know what the changes were for them?
We can do that.
Yeah, I was going to ask the same thing, if we can see the duties, and maybe have more time, so maybe next month is maybe a first read again, so we can kind of do some comparing. Like a good example would be the bus driver description. The old item was performs all other duties deemed necessary by the transportation supervisor or designee. Now, the new one says that to perform additional duties as required by the current demands of the position or assigned by administration. We got a lot of, how many administrators do we have in this district? We got a lot. And that's what I'm just trying to say, just we can just have some discussions, because that just tells me a bus driver pulls into the school, and next thing you know, assistant principal's telling them what to do. So, but, hang on. But that's, if we can just have maybe another month to kind of look at those a little bit. So any other discussion? We can move on then to the next. Warren County Career Center report. Is Mr. Warwick awake? Oh, hold on. We don't have a microphone for you here. Actually, I think that was by design.
Yeah, we took it away.
Thank you. We pretty much have the enrollment for this new year all in place. More than 600 new incoming students. That's a record, and that took some juggling to accommodate all of them. Brings the total number of students at the main and atrium campuses to over 1,000, which is also a new record. There's still 120 people on the active list that would like to get in that we can't accommodate at this time. So there's been a lot of good moving around to at least even get to the 1,000. And I think they've done a pretty good job doing that. They're restricted, of course, in some of those programs by equipment and seats and all of that. So they've shown some flexibility, and I think have handled it pretty well. The partnership agreements with the 6 partner districts, Little Miami being one of them. Little Miami sends more kids to the Career Center than the other 5. This isn't finalized yet, but just the satellite programs that are operated in the 6 school districts, it looks like it could be over 6,000 students that participate in some of the satellites, which once again is, I think, a record. So all of that's going well. The Career Center is still focusing on expanding the facility because we're still turning people away and don't want to do that. We're over-enrolled at the beginning in most of the programs. It's down to, then some students drop off, so we're down to 120 on the list right now, as I understand it. So the first expansion should happen shortly and be ready for maybe in the fall. We want to move the healthcare programs that are at the atrium right now, move them into the first part of the expansion, so that isn't going to increase any student numbers. And then we're working on additional add-ons to the existing structure so we can get those head counts up. Right now, they have been putting money in an improvement plan account, and they want to keep doing that so that they can pull off as much of this expansion without having to go out to the voters. At some point, they'll probably have to, but we want to show that we're trying to use resources we have to get most of this started. So in their 5-year plan, they are earmarking $5 million a year to go into the PI account. Now, depending on what happens with school funding and all of this property tax reform, they may not be able to do the $5 million each year, but they have figured out how they can do that with existing funds, which will take us a long way. They're still looking at the ways in their internal programs to free up money that can be earmarked so they can meet the $5 million each year. A latest report on food service They brought the food service back in-house because it had lost $168,000 last year. So they brought it in-house, and they took care of it themselves, and they actually made $383. So by doing these little things that they're concentrating on, that $168,000 underwrite of food service, that money helps go toward the plan of the $5 million to go in for expanding. We're seeing more homeschool kids applying. We're seeing more kids that we thought were college-bound applying at the Career Center. And so making it bigger, first we have to have the physical plant and then figure out the funding as we need the personnel to make the programs fly. But right now, we could take, if we had the room, the physical room, we could add more students now and handle them basically with the staff we have now. So hopefully we can charge ahead with the expansion.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks. Did you have anything, David, or no, for business advisory?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I
okay.
do. On August 3rd, the Business Advisory Committee met. Wayne Siebert was the rotating board member for that particular meeting. We need to know for the next meeting who's going to be the next rotating person, because we sort of have to have a limit of 2, because if we get to 3, then it becomes a board meeting and not a business advisory committee. So you can coordinate if you want to volunteer to be the next person to that committee, which, by the way, will be on October 5th, Monday. The discussion went around the actual purpose and kind of the charter of the Business Advisory Committee. As it stands, I would characterize it as we have a rather passive relationship with businesses. In other words, we certainly encourage businesses to come and participate, but it's not very aggressive and it's not very interactive. And so the recommendation that we've been working on is to try to, if the board approves, is to kind of change the purpose of the Business Advisory Committee to specifically go out and aggressively build relationships with businesses and integrate it with the job shadowing and job sharing program that's being done in the high school. Other schools that have done this have had a reasonable success. Of course, with that comes a lot of things. Their participation in the advisory committee, possibly some donations, possibly, I don't know if it's common knowledge, the objective that the school district has is to make sure that every graduating senior has a, what do you call it, a career path or a plan that says what they're going to do. We don't want anybody graduating with the idea, I don't know what I'm going to do when I graduate. Well, we consider that a failure. So this...
From our perspective.
What's that?
Yeah,
Yes.
we don't consider the student a failure. We have failed.
We have failed the student.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. And so with a more aggressive view of work with businesses, we can get more job shadowing and more involvement with helping them come up with a plan of what they want to do when they leave school. That would require a presentation probably from the person on the BAC that's actually done this with in the past with other places, and come and talk about what that would mean and what we would need for an endorsement. So if you're interested in trying to have that happen, we can certainly arrange for that presentation at a future board meeting. We discussed the wider participation from the community in the Business Advisory Committee. We reviewed the offers that have been made to some that have declined, that we would love to have participate, and agreed that we continue to openly ask citizens, community members, and business representatives to participate. We talked about potential investment opportunities in sports facilities with bleacher expansion, possible some equipment storage needs that are there, and some ideas for the property that's above the sports complex, ways to try to use that. And again, the advisory committee just talks about these items and then gives the administration some ideas that potentially, some of them turn into going and getting proposals for things. Some of them are kind of kept in the hopper and continue to be talked about. We had a warning from Mr. Gonda that we would be getting a financial 5-year forecast update at this meeting, and we enjoyed that. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
So he was true to his word. And we had a transportation update as of that date. Again, that information is superseded by other actions that have already occurred. And then lastly, we had an update on noise issues at the middle school and the high school. The facilities has been chasing some noise issues with the HVAC systems for quite a while that are affecting the surrounding community a little bit. And so we got a little bit of an update on that. I was actually hoping the failure of the one in the middle school was the one that was making noise. And maybe that would have fixed that, but maybe not. So that's, so the next meeting is on the 5th of October. So if whoever wants to be the rotating one, just let Mrs. Morgan know, and
We want to decide that now?
Well, we can, that's fine. And if we have more, because it's still, the business advisory reports to the board.
Right.
So if 3 people show up, it's still a public meeting regardless, correct?
we can have more than 2 board members there, but participating members in the discussion can only be 2.
Okay.
So the third would be observing, like a public observation, but not as a participating member in the discussion. So it doesn't run afoul of board scheduled meetings.
I guess,
If it's already a public meeting,
Yeah.
it wouldn't go against sunshine laws.
we'll get clarification on that. We'll get clarification on that. Now, the other thing I was just going to ask is, where are you getting the items to track down? Because the noise, that's the first thing I just heard right now, that there's an issue at the middle school with noise.
Yeah, the noise. That's the first time.
I've never heard that. So I guess what
It's
I'm,
been going on for 2 years.
this is the first I've heard it, and I guess the question I have is if the if the board members can also be in the loop as far as the activities that the BAC is working on.
Yeah,
So, no,
I think it's
appreciate
really
that.
important that David give a BAC update every meeting.
Absolutely.
Well, as long as the next meeting is before the board
Sure.
meeting. We don't have those quite as often. But I think that is a thorough and a summary of what we've done.
Yeah, that's good.
and-
That was a good brief.
This is what you're requesting.
Yeah.
So going forward,
Mm-hmm.
and we noticed that in the past, we haven't had necessarily as detailed of a report of things that were discussed. And so going forward, what we want to try to do is the permanent member of the board on the BAC needs to be the person that brings a report to the board at the next available scheduled meeting.
Yeah, I think by law, we have to keep the minutes, so.
Well, minutes are kept.
Yeah, I asked, but I think what you give is a bit more thorough than the minutes that
Well,
I
these
got.
are just my participation notes.
We can transfer.
Scribbling.
He's got the minutes, the official legal
I sent it to you. I'm
minutes.
scribbling
Yeah.
them. I scribble.
Let's
And we
look at
keep
those minutes
attendance.
compared to that.
We keep attendance.
No, that's good. That's good.
Minutes, all
They're
those
there.
things.
The thing I would like to be there in October, but we'll find out how many of us can be there. One of the things I would challenge our Business Advisory Council is to find ways to save money.
Well,
I
I
don't,
thought that's what it was. That's why I'm confused about the Business Advisory Council, because you're talking about transportation, HVAC, what else? The program for career-ready students. all great things, but what are they supposed to be? It's like another board.
Well, we don't have any votes. We don't take any action. It's
Right.
just discussion, and it is literally advice to the administration of ideas that the business community has with regard to those subjects.
Is it,
I guess I just
This is
didn't
a
know.
board committee, and so
Yes.
really, they follow what you want. And Mr. Sousa is right now the chair, and he's asked multiple times, please give direction.
Yeah, we
Oh,
need
absolutely.
criteria.
We're not getting the direction. Rusty, am I right on that? Please give us direction from the board
Yep.
to this committee.
And that was-
And so it is your committee to give direction to. With lacking that direction, we bring things from the district to say, hey, these are business people, let's ask them their opinion as well. And we've been doing that, but it is the board's committee, it is not the district's committee.
fair enough, and that we were going to discuss that at one of our retreat items. We were
Yeah,
going to
that
talk
was-
about the BAC and just the role of it, because it's nice to go to the board, the BAC, but also I think at times, though, we need to give them that leeway to let them do the work, and then they come to report to the board. But I would like to see more of an effort to reduce spending. We keep talking about our expenses, and I would really like to look at some cost saves, because since I've been here, I've not seen a cost save. I thought we had one with the pickups, but then as we start peeling the onion back, well, we really didn't mean that, we didn't say that. So that would be clarifying, but I guess as a board, I'd be interested in seeing that. And also we talked about student fees. I think we had talked about that, and that kind of got tabled. And just kind of looking at those items, because I don't want it to turn into a levy committee. You know, I want to have it more to do. Rusty, you have something to say.
Why don't you plan to come to the next BAC meeting? You,
Yes, I will.
okay.
But I will tell you,
David, and we have you.
yes,
And you
I-
can come back.
I will. But I can't do it as one board member. This is Dave Wallace's idea, but we want to hear from the other board members, so that way it's to get the direction. We will work through that ourselves at the retreat. We will build a better idea of how we're going to communicate with the business people, all right?
And their purpose
But
and criteria
yeah.
and how to get on and that sort of
Do
thing.
not think for one second, Rusty, I'm saying anything. I think the guys do great. They've been keeping this program afloat
it's
for
great.
years. I think Mr. Sousa tried to resign, but I don't think you guys are letting him. So we certainly appreciate what you guys are doing, okay? And I've talked to a couple business advisory guys in the last 2 weeks, and they've shared some frustrations, they've shared some successes, so.
Come and be part of it.
Well, Rusty, I might do that on October the 5th. I'll sit right next to you. All right, we got anything else? All right, let's go ahead and do this non-agenda items. Stephanie Messer.
Hello, my name is Stephanie, and I am a driver, an OBI, and I am head of the recruitment team that we have. So what I want to talk about tonight is recently an MOU was proposed to the district from our union on behalf of the drivers. And from my standpoint, I get to see both sides. I get to work with our new drivers, I get to talk to interested candidates, but I also work alongside of the veteran drivers. Some of the decisions that have been made this summer, people may or may not know, but veteran drivers have lost hours. They've lost wages, and yet they're still here making sure we function. I wish you guys could see in a day's time, in an hour, what all they're doing. Piecing routes together, picking up Johnny. I mean, it's really hard to follow, and it's really hard to even list everything. It wouldn't work if we didn't have the team that we have. So when I think of recruitment, we can't recruit if we aren't interested in retaining what we have. And to the MOU, I think it asks for a guaranteed 7 hours. And I can't say that they would work every minute of that 7 hours every day, but I can assure you over the last year, and they continue, they've earned that money. And I'm asking you to not view it as an expense, or just a pay. I'm asking you to start investing in your people. We have shown that we're not afraid to use resources for outside help. But I'm asking you now to focus on retaining the good that we have that keeps us running. And it's also, our reputation is also a big part of being able to recruit good people. And they're watching. And your current team, your current employees that stand accountable to you and answer to you, they're watching. And I'm asking that your actions line up with what you're saying. We hear that you want it to be board ran, you want it to stay in-house. Sometimes that's hard to believe because we're not seeing that same amount of effort put into the people who keep it running day in and day out. And I shared some of that concern with you and Travis. So that's all I wanted to ask. As you guys review that MOU, I want you to remember to place the value on what we have, and we want to keep what we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Courtney McKeon.
Courtney McKean, a Little Miami resident. Wanted to do a couple things. The school supplier, artist supply donation, I did want to bring about that was in memory of the Garvey family, the uncle who was an artist, and that is in his memory, and he has great nieces and nephews in this district, and so that was coming from there. I wanted to bring that to light for everybody. His name was James. He went by Jimmy Watson. So thank you for that donation to the family. I also wanted to say thank you to Regina for addressing the wearable recording devices incoming policy. I know that was addressed, that it's started now, but it's still in the works. This is a huge step towards the safety for our students against being photographed or recorded without their knowledge, meta glasses, other wearable devices, that sort of thing. Making sure that parents feel that safety and security for their kids, that they're not being recorded against their knowledge, and also great strides towards academic integrity as well. So thank you for that, and know that is very something that I think a lot of parents are passionate about, so thank you for working on that. I wanted to address Briscoe Consulting. I think the district deserves more transparency. Mandy, you made an offhanded comment that that's underway, but there's been no formal agenda update. There has been no notification of anything since that was brought about in January, right? How much are we spending? How often is that consulting team coming here? Terry laid out in great detail, thank you for that, Terry, your 5-year forecast, but there's a lot of things that go into that are very specific to Ohio laws. And so I think the district and residents deserve to understand how someone from Texas is able to navigate that, because those are very specific laws, those are very difficult and things, so I think that we deserve more than just an offhanded comment. I think that should be addressed at an agenda, and we should be getting monthly updates. Additionally, I wanted to say thank you to Regina and team for enforcing supervised visits for all visitors. I think that is very critical, and all parents definitely want to make sure that there are no unsupervised visits. There are not people walking through the hallways, potentially photographing children or classrooms that they may be in that are on the do not photograph list. I don't know that that's something that every visitor, you don't know that list, right? That's what the administrators are for. And so that's why those unsupervised visits are not allowed, regardless of where that's happening. So we appreciate that policy. We appreciate the enforcement of that policy, that there is always that supervised visit. As a parent with kids on that do not photograph list, that is critical, right? We don't want our kids photographed by people that don't need to be taking their photograph. So please make sure that those supervised visit policies are strictly followed. Thank you.
Thank you. Beth Goldenfield? She left. All right. Vanessa?
Parent. Just real quick, I want to say that my comments earlier said that we hadn't heard anything publicly, and then you mentioned executive session. I wouldn't be privy to what was discussed in executive session, as that would break the law if someone were to make me privy of that. As part of my professional learning this summer, I've been reading about equity-centered, trauma-informed schools and what helps students, educators, and school communities thrive. One concept has really stayed with me: unconditional positive regard. It means treating people with dignity, recognizing their worth, and starting from curiosity rather than judgment, even if we disagree. We often think about these practices as something we do for students, but healthy school cultures care for the adults too. And this doesn't have to cost money, it just requires intentional leadership. Sometimes it means protecting educators' time, shortening agendas or canceling meetings that could be emails, replacing icebreakers with actual collaboration time, being thoughtful about scheduling ETR, IEP, and 504 meetings so planning and lunch times are protected as much as possible. Before asking educators to do one more thing, we need to ask, what can we stop doing, what can we simplify, and what can we give back to them? Those actions say we respect your professionalism and we value your time. But respect also means considering what we asked people to endure. Look at the Hate Has No Home Here lawsuit. A teacher put up a welcoming sign and it was ordered removed, a decision now being litigated. Current and former staff and administrators have spent valuable time in depositions and discovery over that decision. One former teacher was questioned about how he responded when students experienced harassment and bullying. He explained that he documented, investigated if needed, and reported the incidents. But then he was asked whether he did those things for all students or only LGBTQ+ students by our school attorney. And that question matters. Instead of pressing an educator who has an outstanding record and spent years trying to help and protect all Little Miami students, we should be careful about implying that caring for a group of students requires justification. How about asking, how can we help in this manner? Not, why did you care about those kids? And that brings me back to culture. Recently, members of this board agreed when I said tone and respect matter. But just moments later, community members were described as home gamers, knocking over their big gulps to post online. And that's my point. Culture is built in such moments. Every meeting, every email, every hard conversation and decision. If we want our students to experience trust, dignity, and respect at school, then the adults who serve them should experience those things too. You as a board should set the tone. Caring for the adults in our schools and respecting those in our community are not separate from student success. It is part of it.
Thank you. Yep, that's it.
Can I address the financial review?
Yep.
I didn't try to make a flippant comment about the financial review. I know Vanessa had mentioned something when she was up here prior talking about the financial review. That's the reason I wanted to give an update. The only reason it hasn't gotten started yet, we didn't give him the information until the end of July. He's been waiting on all the financial records and whatever, I know Terry's been quite busy. So he was waiting on that. So that's why the delay. And it has just now begun. So I have no report, nothing to give. And it's all.
Hang on.
No.
You had your 3 minutes to speak.
I never did say it started. People have came up on here in the podium in the last month or two even asking, what's the status of the review? And it hasn't even been started yet because we haven't given them the information. He has to have the financial records in order to be able to review it. So he has them now. He's getting started. He is doing that all remotely, so he's not here doing that. So that's why he was waiting on everything. So I just want to let you know that. It wasn't anything, I have nothing to update. There's nothing we're holding back on it. We're wanting it to be done also. We want to know, because if there's any way that we can save or move money anywhere, anything to ask, not to have to ask for a levy or a less of one, we want to do that. So.
We're done. You've had your 3 minutes. Okay, you had the 3 minutes. All right, any other comments? No. I will say that I certainly appreciate comments about being nicer to people. I think people probably need to do a little self-reflecting as far as how they treat members of the board and their families especially. I can take it, but when my family's attacked, I think that's wrong. I think over the next few months, I've been kind of quiet, so I think I am going to start giving some little anecdotes, little stories about the experience that led up to this. As people like to sit up here and want to be a victim, I'm going to explain exactly what they did, and we'll go from there. But certainly, I appreciate today's behavior. Our next meeting is September 23rd. Make a motion to go in executive session for 2 items. One is conferences with the public body's attorney concerning pending or imminent court action by Division G3 of Section 121.22 of the revised code. Court action is pending if a suit has been commenced. Court action is imminent if it is on the point of happening or impending. Second item in executive session is to prepare for negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment. Second. Discussion?
I have some discussion. I would like to know what the current legal fees are for this lawsuit we're involved in.
I believe Mr. Tarazi responded to your email. It's $5,000 so far that the insurance is covered.
Wait a minute. I want to know what the school district is responsible for in legal fees.
You sent him that email. I guess I would refer to the email that he sent you, Wayne.
Terry probably has that. Terry, do you have that information?
Can you read that email?
I don't have the email, but we have a $5,000 deductible.
So the $5,000 is what the school's paid so far.
And then the insurance is covering the attorney fees, just the attorney fees, not if there's, depending what the outcome is.
Right.
But the insurance is covering those. We're being reimbursed by the insurance company for the attorney fees.
Oh, okay, I'll check those emails again.
Yeah.
I would also like to know who would be responsible for paying any fees or any monetary awards provided Little Miami wins or loses this. Who is responsible for paying these?
I would defer those comments to Omar. So I'd maybe send him an email to do that.
So you're not going to answer that?
Wayne, you send him an email. If you want to sit up here and try to play stump the chump, ask the attorney. You emailed him, he responded back. Obviously, you did not read the email.
He did respond to that too.
I'm asking who is responsible if we win or lose this suit.
I don't know. Go on social media. I'm sure we got some people that are experts now on one of them
Terry-
gossip pages
Terry
can tell
probably
you.
answer this question for you, Wayne.
I believe Omar responded, our legal counsel, that the district would be.
Cool. All right. Did we have a second?
Yeah. Yep.
Right. All right, roll call.
Mrs. Horvath?
Yes.
Mr. Siebert?
No.
No.
No to executive session.
Mrs. Bullock?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Whiting?
Yes.
Thank you.
Dave, I need to sign this real quick.
So for the record, you're going to vote not to go in executive session, but I'm sure you're going to join us in executive session.